Number 7. The Universe 6 Tournament Arc. Rank A-. The Universe 6 Tournament Arc was the first real expansion of Dragon Ball's universe after the Battle of Gods and Resurrection F movies, and it came with some surprisingly solid world building. The introduction of Champa and Vados brought a mirror dynamic to Beerus and Whis, less original than it was fun, but effective. They didn't quite have the same presence or intrigue, but the contrast between the brothers and their sibling angels was enough to keep their interactions entertaining. More importantly, this was our first real look at the concept of alternate universes, and the tournament format gave the arc a clean structure to explore it without too much fluff. The fights were solid across the board, but the real highlights were the character moments. Vegeta and Cabba's dynamic was a standout, equal parts mentorship and rivalry, and the reveal that Universe 6 Saiyans had evolved in such a different way opened up all kinds of possibilities. Frost being the Frieza counterpart was a nice touch, and for a moment it really felt like maybe he wasn't a total bastard. That didn't last long, of course, and it was satisfying seeing his ass thoroughly beaten by Vegeta. And then there was Hid, cool, reserved, and genuinely mysterious. With a power that felt completely different from the usual muscle-ripping, key-slinging mayhem, it was like nothing we had ever seen before. Well, from a character that actually mattered. Watching Vegeta get completely outclassed, only for Goku to step up and start dissecting Hid's ability before hitting the God-tier Kaioken, that was the kind of action that sucks the air from your lungs and makes you shoot like a rocket out of your seat. The ending where both Goku and Hid basically tell the gods to shove it and eliminate themselves out of respect was pure aura. And then Zeno showed up, and suddenly every smug god in the room went silent. Number 8. The Filler Arcs. B+. The Between Arc filler in Dragon Ball Super includes many genuinely enjoyable moments from the series. The episode where Mr. Satan claims he defeated Beerus, mirroring his Cell Games nonsense, was ridiculous in the best way. The alien dog people challenging him, only to panic at the sight of Earth dogs, was pure slapstick. Goku's half-hearted fake punch and lazy fly-off to grab his tractor while Chi-Chi yelled after him was gold. Even the nod to Beerus' scrapped concept design was a fun detail for laser-eyed fans. The Great Saiyaman arc with Gohan and Barry Khan gave Gohan some much-needed spotlight. His awkward balance between normal life and hero life worked well here. Fidel's role as both a grounded partner and fierce mother was fantastic, and Pan had a few strong moments that hinted at her potential. The Tournament of Power recruitment episodes brought a ton of good material. Goku vs. Krillin with 18 jumping in was a great moment, with the duo shockingly squeezing out a victory over the Saiyan God. Roshi sending Goku and Krillin into the woods to collect totally not cannabis spirit leaves while elucidating their old enemies was equal parts absurd and nostalgic. And the return of Android 17 as a no-nonsense, battle-hardened projector was a nice surprise. Fit Food was promising too, until he got written out in the least creative way possible. The Baseball and Arale episodes were chaotic in the right way, bringing Arale back after her OG Dragon Ball cameo hit the nostalgia just right, and the insanity that followed, Beerus nuking Dr. Mascherito's ghost, and the contaminated imagination flavor bomb, was stupid in all the right ways. Yamcha face-planting in his classic pose was a cherry on top. All in all, these episodes were very entertaining. The Goten and Trunks manga filler arc carried a familiar, light, offbeat tone. It wasn't great, but it wasn't trying to be. A goofy, self-aware stretch of superhero cosplay, Monster of the Week antics, and awkward teen hijinks that honestly felt kind of refreshing. It's clumsy and forgettable in places, but it leaned just far enough into its own nonsense to be endearing. And more importantly, it let someone besides Goku and Vegeta take the spotlight for a change. Number 9. Resurrection F. Rank C. Resurrection F was fun the first time, mostly because seeing Frieza return had a novelty at the time. But the more you sit with it, the more the cracks show. The power scaling was all over the place, the story was thin, and the animation didn't hold up all that well. Goku getting the win after Vegeta clearly earned it felt cheap, even if the Whis time rewind trick was a cool moment. Also suffered from one of the dumbest scenes in Dragon Ball history, Goku getting taken out by a random laser. At least the series tried to fix it a bit by showing he'd been depowered before it hit, but it still didn't make much sense, and it felt like a lazy excuse to take him off the board. Seeing Ginyu again in the series was a neat surprise, and Vegeta finally getting to erase the last surviving member of the Ginyu Force was a satisfying little moment. Overall, entertaining the first time around, but we under scrutiny. With some better pacing and more thoughtful writing, it could have hit a lot harder. Number 10. The Potapu Arc. Ranking? Ugh. Trash. The only saving it from absolute exile was Vegeta with the pacifier. Peak unhinged brilliance that felt like the writers just gave up in the most entertaining way possible. It was so awful that even though it got its own separate category, it dragged the rest of the filler from A- down to B+. And that's the rest of it. Not the strongest material Dragon Ball has to offer, but maybe their goal is to make the gold shine brighter in comparison. These arcs are what they are. Entertaining, long, occasionally funny, sometimes aggressive and stupid. But that's part of the ride. Nothing else, they gave us no reason to pass by our people. And honestly, that alone